Tsukishiro Yanagi is framed as the only normal person in Section 6, but she does an abnormal amount of damage, at least if you play her right. And in this guide, I'm gonna teach you how to play her right, I'm gonna teach you her rotations, her combos, what stats we're looking for, what gear we slap on her, and which teams you run her in, and all in between. Welcome in everybody, my name is Hako. So, Tsukishiro Yanagi is the newest character in Zenless Zero, and she's absolutely busted. And she is a very fun, quite complex character to use, although on the surface she might look a lot more complex than she actually is. Let me explain. So Yanagi's kit revolves around switching between her two stances, basically. She has two different stances. She had the Jogen stance and the Kagen stance. Now the Jogen stance increases her electrical damage by 10%. And also increases anti-interrupt level during her basic attacks. Then she has the Kagen stance, which increases her pen ratio by 10%, and interrupt level increases for basic attacks, which means that she has an easier time interrupting the enemies. And switching between these stances are gonna be like her bread and butter. Now, super important to note is that Yanagi keeps the buff from the state she was in, even after she switches, for 8 seconds. So, if you play Yanagi proper, you're gonna have both of these buffs applied at the same time. When one is about to, run out, you just switch. So, how do you switch between these stances, you may ask? Well, it is the special attacks. And I'm not talking about the EX special attacks, which is activated if you hold the button. I'm just talking a normal press, and you don't even need to have enough energy to make it an EX special. She will switch stance anyway. And I think she's the only character in the game whose special attacks are actually, decent and good and has a purpose, even when they're not EX. So, make use of this. So she's a stance dancer, and if you played World of Warcraft or any similar game, you'll probably come across the term. So, bread and butter, you switch and dance between these stances. And when it comes to what stance to try and primarily be in, if you want to really min-max, Jogen will give you slightly more damage and slightly more anomaly build-up than Kagen, but the main focus is having both buffs up at the same time. And now another bread and butter when it comes to Yanagi is trying to avoid her first and the second hit of her basic attack string. So she has 5 attacks in her string. Attack 3, 4, and 5 all have electric damage to them, and they do a substantial amount of damage and a substantial amount of anomaly buildup. Now, how do you skip 1 and 2, you ask? Well, there are certain ways. After she does a dodge counter, rapid retaliation, she can immediately start going off 3, 4, 5. And same is for her chain attack. After that, 3, 4, 5. Ultimate Ryatenge, after that she can continue on from 3, 4, 5. After her special attack, so if you do her special attacks, like you switch stance, at either 3, 4, or 5, you should do it at 5, because then you get the full value out of it, and it will be a faster stance switch. You will immediately also then skip 1, 2, and immediately go 3, 4, 5. Now, this is very convenient because, as we talked about, the special attack requires no energy or anything to use. So there's really no excuse to ever have to use attacks 1 and 2, other to get the combo rolling in the first place. But after that, it should just take it from there. And the quick assist Blade of Elegance will also do this, and assist follow-up Weeping Willow Stab will also allow you to do 3, 4, 5. So you actually have to, get up very early, work very hard in order to have to do 1, 2 of the attack combo. And lastly but not least, the best way to not have to worry about 1 and 2 is by entering her Shinra Bansho state. What is her Shinra Bansho state? Well, if we hold the EX special attack button, Yanagi will assume a stance and then come kind of crashing down from the sky. Now, this is her strongest attack, apart from her ultimate, of course, and it is an insanely freaking good one. So Yanagi comes crashing down from the sky. After that, she enters the Shinra Bansho state for 15 seconds. And for the duration of this state, when following up with a subsequent basic attack from the 5th, hit of a basic attack or other skills, the combo will begin directly from the third hit of the basic attack. So basically, your attack combo when you're in the Shinra Bansho will consist of 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. So you don't even, need to jump through any sort of extra hoops in order to get it to work, as long as you finish the attack combo. What makes this move so freaking strong as well is that when you come crashing down, any enemy that's suffering from an anomaly, from a special disorder effect, so they're shocked or they're burning, whatever, will suffer from Yanagi's very special disorder called polarity disorder. Now, polarity disorder only deals 15% of a normal disorder procs damage, which, it sounds like it hits like a wet fart, right? But no, it actually is quite a lot. Because it's 50% of the original disorder effect plus 3,200% of Yanagi's anomaly proficiency. So 32 times her anomaly proficiency. So if she is at 400, you take 400 and then times 32. And this is also why anomaly proficiency is extra good on Yanagi. And now this really adds up. I'll play a clip when I'm clearing stage 70 something of the floor, the endless floors, or the endless tower, and you can see this full effect in action. This is actually freaking nutty. And what is special with Yanagi's polarity disorder is that it does not clear away the anomaly that an enemy is suffering from. Normally when a disorder happens, you cleanse the enemy from whatever affliction is ailing them. So if they're burning, you take away the burning, but they gain disorder damage. It's kind of a payout. But with the polarity disorder, that's not the case. You do not cleanse it, and they are continuously afflicted by it, which is really, really nice. And what's really amazing with this is the wide freaking area it hits. This does so much damage. So much freaking damage. So the main function of most of Yanagi's abilities, her quick assist, her chain attack, her dodge counter, is to allow her to skip basic attack 1 and 2 of her basic attack string combo. Now her ultimate, Raitenge, actually is quite a powerful one. With this, Yanagi will do a series of sword slashes in front of her, and this area is much bigger than it seems. It actually covers a very, very big area. I would say that this is probably the biggest ultimate in the game. And this is Yanagi's second way of triggering polarity disorders. And right now with shared decibels, you have to pick a designated ultimator, and picking Yanagi honestly is not a bad option unless the enemies are, strong against electric. It is a very, very strong ultimate, and it cleans up an entire room effortlessly. And of course, if you start basic attacking after the ultimate, you will immediately start from the third hit of the basic attacks. And for Yanagi's core skill, her core passive, Lunar Eclipse. After Yanagi activates her EX special attack, the damage multiplier of disorder is increased by 250% when any squad members applies the disorder effect on enemy lasting 15 seconds. When her EX special attack hits an enemy, Yanagi's electric damage against the target is increased by 20% for 15 seconds. This is a really good one, and remember, any sort of extra damage to disorder also applies to her own polarity disorder effect. And for additional ability, Gesso. When another character in your squad is an anomaly character or shares the same attribute, after switching stances, when Yanagi hits an enemy with basic attack Tsukiyomi Kagura, electric anomaly build-up increased by 45% for 8 seconds. So once again, another stance or another buff that's tied into your stances that lasts 8 seconds. And which means that if you lose the stance buff from one of his stances, it means that you've also lost this one because they're on the same timer. So very much switch between the stances is, you're gonna have to incorporate that in your spine, in your muscle memory. And little fun fact, Yanagi is the only character in the game, as far as I know, that doesn't have her additional ability trigger with a faction member on her team. Instead, it is another anomaly or another electric character. So, to summarize Yanagi's kit and playstyle, her kit kind of allows her to cheat the system being her basic attack string, where 1 and 2 of it is kind of useless and want to avoid it. But almost everything she does can, allow you to skip this. And once again, it's her special attack, it's her dodge special attack, it is her EX special attack, it's her Shinra Bansho state, it is her ultimate. So, basically, anything. And say that an enemy is not doing very much, you can always, skip it by just doing your special attacks, which is something you're gonna have to do anyway in order to switch stances. So say that you don't have an opportunity to switch in, or you don't have an opportunity to dodge. So then defaulting to 3, 4, 5 special attack, and then repeating this pattern, 3, 4, 5 special attack, 3, 4, 5 special attack, will make sure that you can, keep in the loop of 1 switching stances and 2 always be able to avoid basic attack 1 and 2. Now, when it comes to Yanagi's disc sets, you do have some options. Especially if you're running in a mono electro team, which means that you have more than one electro character in your team, say that you're running with Rina or you're running with Grace, for example, a 4-piece Thunder Metal is gonna be your best bet. But if you're running in a disorder team, even though I have some problems with this, but with the calculations, it still comes out on top. It is the 4-piece Chaos Jazz set. Now, this set was made specifically for, Bernice. Bernice can take full advantage of this. My gripe with this is that I don't feel like it fits perfectly with Yanagi and the way she works. So, 2-piece, it gives 30 anomaly proficiency, which is perfect. 4-piece, fire damage and electric damage increases by 15%. Now, that's a very, very good thing, but here comes, while off-field, EX special attack and assist attack, damage increases by 20%. When switching on-field, this buff continues for 5 seconds, and this continuation effect can trigger once every 7.5 seconds. Now, she can obviously benefit from the electric damage, but Yanagi is a very, very, selfish character. She wants to be on the field, she wants to have the spotlight. You have to go out of your way in order to, switch her out as much as this set requires. So, you will lose out on a bunch of, this buff time. The case being for Fundamental is that if she's the only electric character, there are gonna be cases where you're not having a single enemy shocked on the field. And, the beginning of combat, she will take some time to, ramp up a shocked enemy. So, neither of these sets are necessarily perfect, but in the calculations, Fundamental comes out slightly ahead when you're running Mono Electro teams, and Chaos Jazz comes out slightly ahead when you're running Disorder teams. And the stats that we are looking for is Anomaly Proficiency on number 4, and then Electric Damage Bonus or Pen Ratio on number 5. You can also run Attack Percentage. And on number 6, you can either go Attack Percentage or Anomaly Mastery. They are similar. They are so closely similar that the better substats will dictate which one is the better. And for the second piece, I would highly recommend going Freedom Blues. If you're running the Fusion Compiler and you're stacking a high amount of Pen Ratio already, maybe you're running it with Rina, then a 2-piece Puffer Electro can also work. I like Freedom Blues because it gives you 30 anomaly proficiency, just, no questions asked, just straight off the bat. And if you're running a 4-piece Chaos Jazz, you can also run a 2-piece Fundamental for another increase in electric damage by 10%. And when it comes to Yanagi's engines, her best one is going to be the Time Weaver, which is her signature one. Now, this is a very freaking neat signature engine, and it is by far her best one. Her second best in the game is gonna be Grace's signature one, and she can actually utilize this, just as well as Grace. It is the Fusion Compiler. Now, what hinders most other characters from using this is that nobody spams special attacks and EX special attacks like Grace does, except for Yanagi. So when using a special attack or EX special attack, the equipper's anomaly proficiency increases by 25 for 8 seconds, stacking up to 3 times. So this gives you a whopping 75 anomaly proficiency, no questions asked. And this is her second best engine. It is a very good one. Pen ratio is super good, and Yanagi has a very good way of stacking this. So I didn't go for her engine because I had Fusion Compiler. But this is still, you know, a drop of about 15% in damage. It's gonna be a 50% damage increase if you have a signature one. And as for her A rank options, you have the Electro Lip Gloss, which is a very good engine. It is the Battle Pass one, and at 5-star, this one is very, very close and competitive with the Fusion compiler. After that, you have the Weeping Gemini, which is, you know, at fully 5-star, is not too far behind Electro Lip Gloss. Still a very competitive option, and it is super, super easy to star up because we can craft it in the Box Galaxy. After that, you have the Rainforest Gourmet, which, you know, is also a good one, but you're looking at a decrease in about 20% in overall damage and performance compared to her signature one. And let's talk about Yanagi's cinemas. Now, she doesn't need a single cinema to work, absolutely not. But some cinemas are better than others, and this one seems fun, or this one is fun. Know thyself, know thy enemy. When any squad member inflicts anomaly on an enemy, Yanagi gains 1 stack of clarity, lasting up to 15 seconds. So when you have clarity, you dodge a hit. So you have 1 stack of clarity, you get hit, you don't take damage for that hit, instead you become invulnerable for 1 second. And while you have a stack of these, your anomaly proficiency increases by 80. So this is like a defensive mindscape that also, you know, gives you 80 anomaly proficiency, which isn't bad. I find this one to be, you know, exceptionally fun because we don't have a mechanic like this in the game, and I don't know, it kind of just, you know, plays into her being this almost superhuman, really skilled swordsman that can, you know, dodge an attack and you know. You just avoid it entirely. And I really like it for that reason alone. Then we have number 2, which is during her EX special attack, the Rapid Thrust Electric Anomaly build-up increases by 20%. Holding down the special attack button after a Rapid Thrust hits an enemy will consume 10 additional energy to launch another thrust. If energy is insufficient or the button is released, the attack automatically follows up with a downward attack. When the downward attack hits an enemy suffering an anomaly and triggers polarity disorder, the damage multiplier increases 20% of the original disorder effect. Each additional thrust increases this multiplier by 15% up to a maximum of 2 extra thrusts. So this one is, you know, probably her most accessible boost in power. This one is really good, and this is a good stopping point for anybody that, you know, looks to dolphin a little bit. Her number 4 one isn't, you know, anything super special. When Yanagi inflicts attribute anomaly damage on an enemy, they suffer the exposed effect, lasting for 15 seconds. Attacks on enemies under exposed effect will have 16% increased pen ratio. So this is kind of similar to what Bernice has as her M4, which is a good one. Obviously, the rest of her team can also take advantage out of this one. And her number 6, you know, makes it go absolutely bananas. After a frost attack during your EX special attack, the duration of Shinra Bansho state increases to 30 seconds. From 15 to 30. So doubles. While the state is active, EX special attack damage increases by 20%. The maximum number of times the additional damage multiplier increases effect for polarity disorder in outstanding adaptability can be increased to 4, and the energy cost for the first 4 additional thrusts increased is halved. So this makes her M2 even better, and this is one of the crazier M6s we have in game. Obviously, this one is, you know, very deep in whale territory. Do you necessarily need it? No, and like it is super expensive and she works super well at M0. I would love to, you know, borrow an M6 Yanagi and play around, but it's nothing you need at all. But it is a really good one. It is a really good one. And for skill priorities, well, we don't need to go into it too much. If you use click upgrade suggestion, these guys have it kind of, you know, mapped out. Core skill, EX special attack, and basic attack gonna be your most important one. I personally, I would put dodge slightly a bit higher because I like using a dodge, and against aggressive enemies, you're gonna be using it, you know, a lot. But most important ones, core skill, basic attack, and EX special attack. Now, when it comes to Yanagi's team building, there are a few things to keep in mind. One, that she is very, very hungry for attention. She wants to take the floor. And, you know, she wants to do her thing, and she benefits the more she can be on field and the less her allies needs to be on field. So what we're looking for to create the ultimate Yanagi team is people that can complement her and benefit her without taking up any screen time, basically. So the best team in the game currently consists of Yanagi, Caesar, and Bernice. Now, Bernice, if you don't know what she does, I have a complete Bernice guide linked down in the comments. She is a super versatile, amazing anomaly character that works off-field. Bernice needs less than a second really on-field, then she can switch out to someone else, and same with Caesar. The main thing with Caesar is grouping up enemies and applying a shield, and after that, Yanagi can have the field. So both Caesar and Bernice requires, very little field time. So this team is tailor-made for Yanagi, and it is her best team, and it is the game's best team currently as of time of recording. And the banger for this is Red Mokus. And this team you see here carried me a lot in the Endless Tower, helped me reach floor 100. Now there are some variations you can be running. You can run a mono electric team, which would look like this, with Yanagi, Rina, and Caesar. Now, if you don't have Caesar, you can, substitute her out for any other support of your choosing. Can be Seth, it can be Lucy, even though in a team like this, Lucy's passive would be wasted, but that's just, a fall-off of damage from her boars. Her attack buff is still insanely good. And Rina works especially well with Yanagi, since Rina hands down a lot of pen ratio, which is something that Yanagi really benefit from. So I'd say this is probably this is probably Yanagi's second best team. Basically the same team, but you switch out Rina for Caesar. Now I have also done, in some floors in the Endless Tower, I was required to run Yanagi and Jane. Yanagi and Jane also works, it's a super strong team, being carried to a large part by, the fact that Jane though is super strong. Now there is some lack of synergy in this team, because Jane wants so much screen time and so does Yanagi. But Jane being able to do 3 million crits on assaults kinda, weighs up for it. So if you wanna run like this, it definitely works. Now, if you wanna go completely crazy, you could also, slap in all of the anomaly characters currently in the game. And, just have a field day with all of the disorder happening. That also works, and what? Why the heck not? Don't let me stop you. But yeah, Yanagi is kinda flexible team-wise, but kinda not. She's flexible in the way that she can pair up with a lot of characters that doesn't require field time. But as soon as you put in other characters that, wants the attention, wants the floor, like Jane, you're gonna have a little bit of a drop-off in performance. But it also means that any future character that comes out that works as kind of an off-field support for Yanagi is, gonna make her even better. So yeah, everybody, that is gonna be my full, comprehensive, in-depth guide on how to master Yanagi. TLDR is all about cheating the system, and her system being her basic attacks. She has 5 of them, we wanna skip the first 2, yeah? You avoid the first 2 by basically doing anything. Doing a special attack, not an EX special, dodge counter, chain attack, ultimate, doing an EX special, enter the Shinrabancho state, and then you have 15 seconds of free time where you don't have to care about 1 and 2, as long as you finish the attack animation. Every 5th attack will lead into the 3rd attack. So 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5, 3, 4, 5. And also super important to be switching her stance at all times, or every 8 seconds, so we keep both of the buffs up and her additional ability up. Because if they run out, you're losing out on a lot of damage, a lot of performance. Her best teams are gonna consist of characters that doesn't require too much field time, like Caesar and Bernice, for example. Her best sets in a mono-electric team, so with a team with Rina, is Fundamental with a 2-piece Freedom Blues, Chaos Jazz, Puffer Electro, and so on. In a Disorder team, you're gonna see a slight advantage towards Chaos Jazz as a 4-piece, and then a 2-piece Freedom Blues, or a 2-piece Puffer Electro. For number 4, for disc 4, we're looking for anomaly proficiency. For disc 5, we either want pen ratio, electric damage bonus, or attack percentage. For the top one, attack percentage or anomaly mastery, and they are very, very close to each other. So yeah, if you have any additional questions about Yanagi, feel super free to pop it into the comments below or catch my live stream over on Twitch. I'll happily answer any questions. And if you have any additional tips regarding Yanagi that you would like to share with the community, let's be, super nice and helpful and, help each other out. And if you have any additional input and tips, put it in the comments so your fellow community members can, see and adapt it. But I hope you found this guide helpful. It was super fun to make. If you found it helpful, feel super free to leave a thumbs up. And if you want to send some zero content, I put it out every day. So if you're into that kind of thing, which I'm guessing if you're watching this guide, then maybe subscribe to the channel. It would mean a lot to me. But thank you so much for watching, and until next time, Hako out.
Hurting people like this. The special monster we're looking for must be you.